Good morning, folks. What do we have here? What I have here is what I believe is a late 60s Fox doodlebug. I spoke to a man that this is what he does. He does motorcycles, he does mini bikes, he does go-karts, stuff like that. Like, that's his thing. And he's pretty sure this thing is a Fox doodlebug. If it's not, I'm sure somebody will correct me in the comments section. I pulled this thing out of a barn on Johns Island a couple of days ago from a fellow that I actually almost rented his house once upon a time. That's another story for another day. So what I can tell you about this thing right now, it's got a flat back tire. It runs, sort of. I got it to run. I bought a recoil system for it yesterday at the local small engine shop. That cost me nearly half what I paid for this, actually more than half of what I paid for the mini bike itself. I've got a new carburetor for it, but there's no reason to not reuse this carburetor if it's just plugged up. Like I said, I got it to run the other day up and down the block by wrapping a string on there and a wrench. So I know that it runs, but it needs some love. Like, I'm going to need to try to find air cleaner for it. I'm definitely going to have to figure out how to get this back wheel off here, because the threads on the ends of the axles are junk. I don't know that I have a tap and die that's that size. I'm going to have to try to source a chain breaker to break this chain. Well, I take that back. I found the master link as I'm sitting here. I couldn't find it the other day. But it needs some love. It needs to be cleaned up. It needs to be brought back to to a better state than it currently is. If you look at this, though, this is quite entertaining. This is a wheelbarrow wheel that somebody has welded the sprocket on this side. That's literally off of a wheelbarrow. I'm going to do my best to try to save these, try to pull them off with some WD-40, because they're here and they're on the other side where the brake, you get your foot pegs and you got your brake. That's a minty little thing right there. And then this motor leaks like crazy, so I'm going to try to get it to stop. The mosquitoes out here or something else today. I'm going to try to get it to stop leaking. The gas tank is plastic, still holds air. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with that front mag yet, whether I'm going to soak the paint off of it or if I'm going to paint it, and I haven't decided what color I want to paint this thing yet or anything. I know that just for now I need to at least take it apart and make it better. It definitely needs a new kill switch. It's got a button up here that's supposed to ground the magneto from the flywheel to turn it off, much like on your lawnmower when you let go of the handle. Well, this just interrupts that in order to get it to shut off, and it doesn't work very well. It took me, it's funny, you try to ride it and it dies. You try to shut it off when it's sitting at the house, and it doesn't turn off, which is no fun. It's got a funny little clutch cover over here. We'll see, but for the moment I'm going to work on getting it taken apart, and I'm going to go find some bug spray before the bugs eat me alive. Can't ever have too much of that South Carolina Old Spice. You have to excuse the barking dogs in the background. It's part of the reason why I'm looking to get out of the city, so I don't have to listen to other people's dogs barking all the time. 3 o'clock in the morning. It's a great time. So I don't have any real sophisticated tools per se. I have an air compressor, but I don't have any air tools. I don't have any impact tools, things of the sort. But we'll be able to get this thing taken apart. It's not a whole lot different than working on a bicycle, other than it's got an engine on it. Oh, of course. There's a nylon Okay, so I'm gonna have to put a wrench on the bottom of that. It's got lock washers, which is exciting. It doesn't appear that any two bolts on this thing match. They're all different, but you know, this thing's almost as old as my mother, so I guess I can't complain there. But let me go find a wrench. Hold on. Alright, so I actually lied. This is, in theory, a power tool. It's actually a hammer drill. These bolts are small enough, though, that it fits a bit from my my drill bit set. Alright, so down under here, got your centrifugal clutch with max torque. I don't know, it's different than the clutch that I've got on my go-kart, to which I got some new tires coming for the go-kart, which should be relatively rad come time. What the hell? It's the glories of working on old decrepit shit, right? See that one there again. Different size on the bottom than it is on the top. This one's a screw. Yeah, I'll get to that at some point. That nut is even round on there. I'm not excited about. Not entirely sure what this spring is supposed to do. I mean, I'm sure it's to retract the brake, but it has no more springing properties to it. It's definitely a homemade piece. Should be some sort of a chain guard in theory, but that keeps that from blowing your ankle apart. All right, let me figure that out. Get back with you. Got the fender off. Had a rat turd on it. It's like something used to live in there. There's flakes of metal, or excuse me, of yellow. They're coming off of this front wheel. I almost wonder if that front wheel wasn't yellow, if maybe this bike wasn't yellow at one time. I'm gonna spray it at some point. Once I get it stripped down to the frame and fork, I'm gonna spray this thing with degreaser and let it sit for a few hours, and then spray it off and see, because degreaser will actually take spray paint away, but it won't take a professional application of paint away. Like, you could spray degreaser on the hood of your truck and it might mess up the clear coat, but the paint's not going to come off, as opposed to with spray paint, you spray it on there and you let it sit and it'll wash the spray paint away, quite literally. I'm going to see if there's any, I doubt though, because I'm seeing bare metal spots here that are rusted. I doubt there's any of the original finish underneath it there, but it never hurts to try, because this thing's got some sort of an original patina underneath of it. I'm absolutely going to try to save that original patina and just clean it up and maybe shoot some clear over the top of it. I have yet to decide, but gotta get it taken apart first. Just FYI, this is not all going to get done in one video either. This is probably going to take me several weeks in what free time I have to do this and get it right, because when I want to be able to get on it and I want to be able to go ride it, and I don't want to have to be broken down, you know, a mile down the road and have to walk home. That's not an ideal situation. If you wonder about sorting bolts, none of them need to fit. This is not like engine bolts here. Okay, these are just holding fenders on, put the nuts back on when I get them off. But now, engine bolts, on the other hand, when I get around to pulling I'm going to have to pull this plate off of here. I'm going to have to figure out how to get this clutch off of here, number one, to see if that's going to come off. And then I'm going to pull this plate off because it's leaking right down here. It might actually be leaking out of the crankshaft seal. I can't tell that at the moment until I'm able to get that clutch assembly off of there. Once I get that clutch off, I'll be able to figure out what it is I'm doing there. I went to the local small engine shop yesterday, to source parts for this thing, and the guy behind the counter looked at me like I was crazy when I asked him if they had an engine rebuild kit for something like this. This is, if I'm not mistaken, this is an old Tecumseh motor. They come off of like a snow blower, something of the sort, maybe a garden tiller, something that had a, and I still don't know what size this engine is either. How many horsepower, things of the sort. This will be a learning process. I'm going to have to do a lot of Googling to try to figure out what exactly it is that I've got here to try to see if I can find parts. I'm not going to cross my fingers that I'm going to find parts, but I can tell you one thing: this is not getting a Harbor Freight motor. I see a lot of people in some of the mini bike groups that are on Facebook that I'm part of. They take these old bikes and they put a brand new Chinese motor on it because it's easier than working with something old. Take the time to do it right. That way you're not, you're not taking away from the integrity of the bike. And somebody in the comment section is probably going to tell me I'm full of shit about integrity of the bike, but that's just an opinion. And as my dad would say, opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one. But if this is original to this bike, it's going to stay on this bike. And it's the next size down. I'm about 90% positive this bike's a survivor that got put away at some point before I was even born. And it sat there in that barn until I found it. Well, I didn't find it. Somebody listed it on the internet. Once I get this seat off, those bolts are gonna go back into those holes. Oh, of course, 2 different size bolts at that. Not very many bolts are the same. Really dig this old seat though, with this pinstriping on it. Oh, that ain't good. Damn it, I don't know what to do about that. It's turning inside. The bottom of this seat is wooden, and I can tell that there's a metal insert on top of the wood that this bolt goes into, and it's turning. I might have to figure out how to cut that off there. Figure out how to do that without ruining this seat. And here it's just spinning in there. Alright, let me figure that part out. Alright, so I had to come down here to my other shed. That bike's for sale if you know anybody that wants it. To get a hacksaw. Some of you might remember that thing. I recently did a little bit of service to that. Wheels are off of it. They're in the other shed. But here's the yard. I'm not showing you guys my plants because they're not doing very well because it's the end of summer. Perhaps my fall harvest will be better. But yeah, I'm going to go put this hacksaw to use here. Trusty duty hacksaw that I got from my late father 25 years ago. See? Damn it. I don't want to have to take this all apart, put it back together. Yeah, see, there's the piece that it's, there's an insert in that one. I might have to take that to somebody. I don't know. I don't want to mess up the integrity of this seat, because that's like the coolest part of the whole bike. Just, well, at least in my opinion. I'm going to put that in my shed. Alright, so get these handlebars off of here. I ain't never seen handlebars attached to anything like that. These are just little, I don't even know what you would use these clamps for, but they're not, I don't know, they're just funny little clamps. I'll make sure to put these bolts back on. These little clamps here once I get them off. Because they actually match. Imagine that. 4 of the same bolt. This bike was definitely built in a simpler time, when you just kind of made things work with what you had, and you know, guys still worked on things, built things, knew how to make things, unlike the this crazy year of 2020 that we live in, where people literally don't even know how to change a tire on their car anymore because they haven't tried. That seems to be the problem with this next generation coming up, is that they, number one, they've had everything handed to them, and number two, they're afraid to try new things. Like, you know, you don't know what you're capable of until you try to figure it out. So, come right off of there. That's a tiny little bolt on that thing there. I might actually just disconnect it from down here where it's tied in. We'll see. Well, that ain't gonna work. Alright. I'm gonna have to rearrange this. I'll catch you guys when I got the handlebars off. Alright, now when I say back in an era where people made things work, look at these handlebars. Some tab right there. Somebody just booger welded on there. That hits, and that limits how far the handlebars can go forward. See? And it's nifty little things like that, you know, to make an old project like this cool. Like, somebody had issues, because these are what hold the handlebars on. Unlike on a bicycle where they've got grooves on there, and then on the inside of the excuse me, the stem itself, these are literally just held on there with these smooth little pieces. So somebody figured out how to keep the handlebars from going forward. Now they will move back, but then you could just push them back forward, which is kind of neat. Let's see what I can't do. Yeah, that, we'll see. I'm gonna squirt some WD-40 down in there and see if I can't get this grip to come off of here. Might take a few applications to get down in there, but generally you can get old grips like this off with WD-40. So my next step, I'm going to need to drain the gasoline out of this gas tank, because there is some gas in it. I gotta figure out what I'm going to drain it into. Here's that little button. I thought I might be able to get inside of this thing and see if maybe the inside of the switch is bad, but that's even by 1960s standards, that's a throwaway switch. So I'll have to figure out how to, well, that's interesting. It's literally just a push button here that goes straight into the side of the motor there. I almost wonder if that outlet where this goes is hot. If I could maybe split that 2 ways and run a headlight on the front end of this thing, because I still have another headlight left over from when that company sent me headlights to put on the go-kart. I only put 1 on there. Let's see. Let me find a screwdriver so I can get this chain off of here. Give me a second. So I apologize about the lighting. Let's see. Sometimes you can just get these with your fingernail. Don't want to lose this little clip. Although I'm sure I could go out and buy another Master Link, I don't want to have to spend any more money on this thing that I already have. Tiny little C-clip. In order to not lose this, I'm going to put it back together and hang it in my shed. Sorry that this video is painstakingly slow. It's being shot in real time. You know, I put a poll out there to the Facebook group yesterday as to whether or not I should film this process because I was getting ready to do it, and although only like 10 people had an opinion, it was yes. Alright. Find something to drain the gasoline into. Alright, so here's the part that somebody who cares about the environment is going to really dislike about this. When I spill gas all over every goddamn thing. So, there's not a whole lot of gas in this tank. And again, there might be more than this coffee can worth of gas. We'll find out. That's held on there with screws. That's entertaining. Making sure if I take the gas cap off there, maybe it would vent a little bit better. It appears it's angry enough all on its own. Drip, 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 drip. Kind of like taking a pee. Those last few little dribbles. You gotta get those last few dribbles out or you make a mess out of your pants, right? I'm gonna let that drip. Don't smoke a cigarette around that. Or maybe do smoke a cigarette around that and find out why. Wow. I'm actually gonna have to get the motor off of here before I can get to the... Yeah, there's no... Alright, so let me work on trying to figure out how to get the motor off of here. Give me a second. I need to go find a wrench. And it is still dripping gas. I should probably figure out some way to plug that hole back up. Like, oh, I don't know. Put the gas line back on it. There's a start. Not always the sharpest tool in the shed. Repeat on the front side. Alright, so gas tank. Bit of a byproduct of the gasoline leaking all over here is going to dissolve that paint. But don't you worry about the environment. We won't be around long enough to see what happens anyway, so pollute. Oh, that one's different. I'm kidding, by the way. Kind of a dry sense of humor. I'm an acquired taste. Kind of like, remember that first time you drank a beer? Yeah, I am an acquired taste. You'll learn to love me in time. Holy moly. Yuck. Spider webs. And again, it has been in a barn longer than I've been alive. Put these right back where they go. It's amazing that a plastic gas tank has lasted all these years. It's just dripping in sweat. It's supposed to be fall, you know, September. It'll be 100 degrees today. This may be as far as I get on this video today. We will see. So, fenders, gas tank. I get to figure out these wheels. However, I'm going to go sit down for a little while and cool off. You'll see later when the lighting is just a little bit different. Alright, so the process on the back wheel was literally way easier than I thought it was going to be. Take the one nut off the one side. I mean, the axle literally just slides through the wheel. Like, I thought I was going to have to get this other bolt on the other side. It's almost round. To be honest with you, oh, this thing's going to fall off the bench if I do this too. Good save. Alright. Oops. Shit. Bearing fell out. That's exciting. Alright, let's take a look at this wheel here. That's an old, yeah. I might look into seeing about maybe getting some new bearings. If I can't find new bearings, I don't know, these are sealed, so I don't know that I might be able to pack some grease into those, maybe, if I clean them up. It's a big maybe, literally. Well, and you can see where that's been welded on there. This is literally just a wheelbarrow wheel. Make sure to put back all the spacers in the same order that they came off in. Outside of the axle, so I can remember that later. Now, I have to figure out how to get the front one off. It looks the same, sort of. Not really. And there's my air conditioner. I'll get back with you. Alright, so while I was waiting for my air conditioner to shut off, I went ahead and took that front wheel off. It was exactly the same process as the back wheel. The axle literally just pulls through the front wheel. I went ahead and took the rubber foot peg pieces off. You can see over there on the brake, it's kind of gray, and that's nasty. I've washed my hands like 6 times, and I still got, it's duct tape adhesive from who knows how old that duct tape is. But anyway, I don't have any degreaser, so some Walmart oven cleaner. I'm going to soak this thing down with Walmart oven cleaner. It's what I have for the moment. It'll get it cleaner than it is. That way I can potentially put my sander on it. Hopefully, maybe, this will just eat the paint right off of the outside of it, like a degreaser would. But we'll find out. Definitely don't want to do this anywhere where you got food growing. I'm 20 feet from my where I've got anything growing, and all my stuff is in beds. I don't have to worry about contaminating the soil. It's all in boxes, excuse me. Alright, I'm going to end up doing this probably 2 or 3 times and spray it off with the hose. But I'll catch you guys in a little while when I am spraying it off with the hose. Alright, so while we're waiting here on the frame over there, I went ahead and took the front wheel apart. It's a 2-piece assembly. It still has a good inner tube. I got the tube out of the back wheel. I can't get that damn wheel off of that, the tire off that wheel. So that wheel may end up just getting cleaned up as it is. Maybe brush paint the wheel. I haven't decided yet. But so there's that portion of it. But yeah, when I hose that off, that's going to be the end of this video, because diving into that motor on this bench is going to be a whole nother video in itself. So yeah. Alright, well, that didn't do quite what I wanted it to do, but it'll work. Looking at this, that tank didn't come on here. Somebody welded these brackets on here for that tank. There used to be another, wow. They took the paint off there. Yeah, I don't know what the hell that tank came off of then, because you can see where they ran the grinder here. Boy, somebody's yelling at their children on the other side of the ditch. That's exciting. Another reason to move the fuck out of the city. I'm tired of listening to people and their children as well. But yeah, this has been ground smooth where the tank bracket used to be, and these have been moved. I don't know why you would have put it so far back there and have all this up here, put a little bit forward so you at least had some leg room, but whatever. I'm going to end this video before those people end up with a domestic violence situation going on. It's hotter than balls out here, so I'm going to go inside and take a shower. Check back. I'm not exactly sure the schedule of how these videos are going to get uploaded, but check back in the future. There will be more. This is part 1. Thanks for watching.